The African high-tech world was in Paris last month. These startups of Kenya, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Egypt, Tunisia and Algeria, among others, were eager to showcase their technologies and discover the new features presented at the 8th edition of the Vivatech Technology Fair. They were also interested in the possibilities for partnerships and networking within an international ecosystem which is discovering the potential of the African market. The event was dominated by the arrival of artificial intelligence that some of the continent's startups are starting to adopt. Take a look. Three African startups honored at Vivatech's Africa Tech Awards. It has become a tradition, and the 8th edition of the annual technology show in Paris was no exception to the rule. Egyptian electric bus startup schools, digital insurer inclusivity solutions and mental health startup Talia Psychotherapy, both from Kenya, were honored in the three categories of climate, fintech, e-commerce and health.
Today, we have numerous startups, and we are showing that in Africa, there is fantastic basic resources that the world is profiting from. But there is something which is even more important, is the people of Africa who are able to innovate, to invent, to create, and to build startups.
The dynamism of the event was particularly obvious this year. African startups turned out in large numbers, and what they were looking for most of all was the fantastic platform offered by the technology trade show to promote their brands and forge partnerships.
We have the opportunity to be on a platform, the biggest in Europe, related to the tech. So for us, visibility is important. And also the partnerships we can forge with the various people who come to meet entrepreneurs and startups. Partnerships are important for us, but we're also looking for investors.
Finding partners and investors is a priority for these startups, which are very focused on inventing practical solutions for the continent's development, starting with its agricultural sector.
A farmer walks into the shop, purchases seed or fertilizer, walks out without any digital trace of a transaction happening at that time. This limits the access for farmers to information and financing. So what we do is we have built a platform that is enabling these businesses to access inventory and check out these products to farmers in a digital way. And that is how we basically make a smallholder farmer more digitized and more bankable, because we've built a transaction history for them that they can now share with third-party financial service providers to access inputs, to access financing, to invest in their businesses and their farms.
For 5 years now, we've been developing tools to combat cattle rustling, which now costs the Senegalese government over 4 million euros a year. The idea is to put the place GPS collars, which are intelligent trackers, so that when the collar is cut off from the animal, text messages are sent to its geographical position with 3 different numbers: the owner, the keeper, and even the police.
5 years later, blockchain is the driving force behind its new solution for securing civil registration data.
So we can have a digital identity for every Senegalese, for every African. We can create extensions, for example, a unique extract that we can check at any time during the life cycle of these documents and the person. This avoids bottlenecks in terms of time and queues. You stay at home with your smartphone, pay €0.5, and receive your birth certificate or any other document. Everything that's done with Photoshop, where people falsify documents, change their names, change the header, is now a thing of the past in Africa.
The next step is artificial intelligence, which was quite ubiquitous at this year's show, with the promise of extraordinary advances not only in health, but also in the creative arts. One example is Zenmix Master, the mastering platform for African creators, which is already using AI to make technologies previously reserved for recording studios more affordable.
Sound engineers are also afraid that AI will take over their work. But I think that we already have software that sound engineers use to get the job done quickly. So if we now have platforms like this, it can also help them avoid spending a lot of time on certain files and to be able to understand the curve of frequencies that are faulty and that they can adjust automatically.
But staying close to African realities will remain the priority for many startups.
And at the end of the day, a smallholder farmer in the rural community is not really interested in the artificial intelligence and the technology and the complexity around it. They are after the solution. So if you can simplify the use of AI to make sure that it translates into more money in their pockets, then we have a very good way to actually leverage artificial intelligence to support smallholder farmer access to finance and access to markets.
Adapting artificial intelligence to the continent is already gaining traction, with the key to unlocking tremendous potential for economic development.